Goal setting is a technique we use a lot in fitness work. Often clients come with certain goals in mind. It's really good practice to help them make it achievable and relevant to themselves, and show them how to review and make progress. The key to this is measuring quite a lot how much progress you're making. See if you need to change what you do in order to keep the progress high. So by the end of the lesson, you should be able to explain how SMART goals work and how you use them to support change behaviour. You should be able to differentiate the process between process goals and outcome goals and how they help clients to adhere. You should be able to look at safe and realistic timeframes for achievement and identify ways to monitor and review clients' progress. So firstly, you might have heard the term SMART goal. This is what it stands for: specific, measurable, agreed or achievable, realistic and relevant, and time bound. So you find it's the difference between coming along and saying I'd like to lose some weight, so I'd like to lose a specific amount of weight, an amount of weight that's achievable in this time frame, and it gives us a reference point in order to maintain progress. The definition of goal setting is what an individual is trying to achieve. It's the object of an action. You've got to remember there are different types of goals: personal goals, business or career goals, self-improvement goals, performance goals, process goals, outcome goals. We're going to particularly look at the last two. They're a different way of looking at how we achieve some of the others. In terms of goal categories, we'll often start by doing a long-term goal. So this could be, for example, an amount of weight loss. It could be that we then take that and break it down to a smaller amount of weight loss and a smaller amount each month, because obviously waiting for the whole lot to go before you reward yourself is quite a lot. Similarly, athletes who want to win the Olympics, they don't start by saying I must want to win the Olympics. They might have the target to make the national team and the target to make the regional team, or the target to run certain times that they know will put them in the picture for the Olympics. So although you might have a big long-term ambitious goal, it's important to realise you should build towards it by setting medium-term and short-term goals to keep yourself motivated and achieving along the way. These are one of the principles of goal setting. So there are 7 of them. So first thing is to say what you want, all right, rather than what you want not to do. So whenever you find yourself saying I don't want this, try and find a way of reframing it to say what you do want. So you could say to your children, I don't want to see a mess, or you could say I'd like to see a tidy room, and that would be a way of putting it in a positive way. Goals should be challenging and realistic, so goals must have enough difficulty to make them able to hit, but if they're too hard and not realistic, it means you don't get achievement and you tend to lose motivation. They must influence the result directly. So if your longer term goal is to lose weight, for example, whatever you're setting yourself as daily tasks must be relevant to that. You should be able to measure your progress. That means your goals must have measurements and numbers in them. You must be able to check the resources you use, count the cost of it. It's not always a financial cost, and provide rewards in order to make the goals work. And again, those don't have to be financial, they can be emotional rewards. Let's have a look at the difference between a process and an outcome goal. So if I start with outcomes, outcome goals is defined by an end result. I'd like to lose 5 pounds, I'd like to run a marathon. So generally this is what you might do, certainly in the longer term. Outcome goals are harder to achieve. Success is not clear until you're retesting, and they're more for sort of to performance kind of activities. A good way to start people is, rather than starting with an outcome goal, is to start with a process goal. So this is them completing an action or something that will build towards your outcome. So for example, I would like to complete 5 30-minute walks. So this you have much more control over. You don't always have total control over your weight loss or where you're going to finish in the Olympics. You do tend to have more control over whether you can walk 5 times a week, whether you can drink enough water, what time you go to bed. It's quite easy to monitor success, and beginners find these much more easier and motivational. They're easier to definitely get a result because they're outcome goals you don't always have total control over. So process goals are a good place to start. Once you're building your SMART goals, generally you can, this is a practice activity, but you can do that with your clients. Identify some common goals that people might do. Describe the type of client that might be looking to do that. Describe whether you would use them process or outcome goals, whether they'd be most appropriate. And then write down some potential short, medium and long-term goals to help the clients build to their long goal. Just one word of warning here, this is a good exercise, but as much as possible try and get the clients to fashion their own goals because they tend to be more successful. In terms of setting realistic timeframes, it is important that you might you have some ends in mind. There is some research out there that says how quickly you should lose weight, how quickly you should gain strength, how quickly you would gain or lose CV or lose inches. Have a quick research on the internet, see what you can find, because it's good to have those goals in the head. But remember, everyone is different. So some people can lose more weight than that or less. Some people can gain a lot quicker than others. It's worth bearing that in mind. Then last thing is to see the importance of reviewing. Reviewing goals help you to provide accountability and feedback. So when you measure against a goal, you can say, right, how realistic and effective that goal was. How much progress have I made? If you need to make more progress, you might need to reevaluate how much work you're going to do. It could be you've made very good progress and you're able to reset the goal. There's also accountability. So by having the measurable goal there, people are able to then measure themselves. So if you've got a Fitbit, you know your Fitbit prompts you to do a certain amount of activity every hour, or a certain number of steps in a day, or that you have to record how much calories you've eaten. All of these things are a way of getting accountability, and they tend to keep people on track. Goal reviews then allow you to make adjustments along the way. So you might find that you say, oh, I'd like to drink more water than that, or do more steps, and that might help you then. Just think about how often you might review goals, and it could be alongside your stages of fitness. So hopefully now you can explain SMART goals, you can explain the difference between process and outcome goals, you can identify safe and realistic timeframes, and identify ways to review progress.